You have found Authentic Business Adventures, a business program that brings you the struggles, stories, and triumphant successes of business owners across the land. Past episodes of the Authentic Business Adventures program can be found in the podcast link at drawincustomers.com. We are coming to you from the Sun Prairie Community Radio Studios, underwritten by Bank of Sun Prairie. My name is James Kademan, entrepreneur, author, speaker, and helpful coach to small business owners across the land. Today, we're welcoming / preparing to learn from Chandon Williams, the owner of Isthmus Wellness. Chandon, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
So tell me, or tell us, I should say, what is Isthmus Wellness?
What is Isthmus Wellness? It's a loaded question.
I just figured I'd fill time really quick here.
We're all about getting people to experience more out of life. So we do that through acupuncture, cupping, and massage.
All right.
As well as nutritional supplements and teas and herbs and fun stuff like that.
That is a lot of stuff. But you said getting more out of life, which sounds, you got to elaborate on that.
Getting more out of life?
Yeah. That's bold.
That's what happens.
Okay. That's good, right? That's very good. So getting more of life from a health perspective or happiness, more fulfillment? Am I anywhere close?
Yeah. Like just more purposeful, more intentional about how we're living, how we're interacting with our community. You know, I think with a lot of people there can be a lot of stress, a lot of health issues. And so you kind of carry that with you, right? Mm-hmm. And so a lot of us go out into the community then, running at 40%.
Right.
And so when we only are running on 40%, then we give people maybe 30 of ourselves.
At best, yeah.
So we're just trying to kind of be that resource, just be another tool for people to really feel better physically, spiritually, emotionally. So they can really you can only do so much in this world, but if you can just improve people's lives a little bit so they can maybe pick up their grandkid or, do the work they want to do outside, make them feel more accomplished, help them sleep better at night, then they can go out and
move closer to 100%?
Yeah.
All right.
That would be ideal.
Nice. All right. So the people...
we have this concept of don't fill from your cup, but fill from your saucer. So you want to be overflowing, right?
Gotcha.
So not just reaching in this empty cup and digging out, but like having so much abundance and so much health and energy that you fill from that overflowing place of the saucer where the cup overflows.
Interesting. I like it. That's pretty cool. I feel just in a Zen state just talking to you for this few minutes here. So if somebody comes to you, do they know that this is what they're... I want to say in for, but that is not intentional. Do they know that that's the end result that you guys are going for?
They get to decide. It's kind of like a choose your own adventure.
Sure.
So I think the important thing that I want my clients to know is I'm going to be there no matter what.
Okay.
And I think part of the healing process is letting people decide how much they really want to invest in that process and how they want to, do they want to be aggressive, conservative? Do they want to ease in? I don't really care.
Sure.
I feel like I've had different places in my life where I've thought, to truly heal, you need to do this.
Sure.
But
there's no other way.
Right.
Okay.
And Chandon's way or the highway.
Okay. All right.
But it's how people, I feel like that works for a certain audience, right? And I can be that way if I need to be, but I feel like true healing comes from people being empowered about their choices and then making the decision for themselves.
Sure.
So I'll usually set goals. We'll all set goals with people.
Okay.
I do feel like people aren't necessarily coming to me to say, I want more out of my life.
Sure.
It usually comes
Maybe
out
not
in other
intentionally,
ways.
but realistically, that's more or less what they're doing, right?
I think so.
I mean, essentially, they're coming to you because they have either a perceived problem or a health issue of some kind, or they want to solve some problem. Which, in the end, if you help them with all of that or any one of those, you'd help them have a better life. So I think that's fair. Yeah. Totally fair. So, how long have you had Isthmus Wellness?
I'm on 3 years.
Okay.
Somewhere in the 3-year mark. Nice.
And you were an acupuncturist before, right?
I was, yeah. So and then I started as a massage therapist, so I've been seeing clients for about 16 years.
16 years?
Yeah.
Holy cow, you started when you were 5, right?
Exactly.
Nice. That's cool.
That's because we needle our lines to make us look a little younger.
Right. I clearly need that. So massage, did you start at massage and then evolved into acupuncture?
Yes, I was not sold on the needle thing.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
That's the needle thing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what changed your mind?
Oh, probably a little bit of desperation and education.
Okay.
So I'd had chronic back pain when I was a teenager, and I actually had, I was going to school. I finished high school in Indiana, actually.
Okay.
And some of my coaches for softball said, for your back, you should really get acupuncture. And I was like, I get it, but
right.
I'm not letting some stranger poke needles in me. Like, just absolutely not.
Gotcha.
All right. I wouldn't go. But I had massage, and like, I knew there was something to, the massage and the chiropractor kind of aspect of things. And so eventually when I was in massage therapy school learning about the acupuncture, I became more willing.
Okay.
I was like, I think I need that point,
All right.
Like,
and then you tried it?
And then I tried it. Yeah. It wasn't like a quick fix overnight for me. Now I see a lot of clients that heal really quickly, but for me, I stuck with it for 2 months. I was doing the acupuncture with this tea, this nasty, brothy-like tea the acupuncturist made me. I gave up a few things. I was drinking warm water. I stopped using ice, like just kind of weird acupuncture-y stuff.
Okay.
And then, after 2 months, just all this chronic stuff, like it was a non-issue for me. And I could be more physical. I could go, at the time, I was like, doing martial arts. I could get back into that and like use my body again, because I was just so sick of, I'd go to exercise, or I'm naturally curious, so I'd want to try something new, and then I'd go to try it, and my body would get in the way, and the pain would get in the way. And so that was kind of my my first kind of introduction and pull toward doing that for people.
So after a couple months of going to acupuncture once a day, once a week?
Oh, yeah. Good question. I only went once a week, and I know that there's a lot of people out there. And I was young. I mean, 19, like going once a week, that was like a big commitment for me, But there's a lot of people that go more often than that, especially I feel like for pain conditions and certain fertility moments. Yeah.
Okay.
But I only did that, and that worked. And then I just kind of came in for tune-ups after that.
Sure. Tune-ups. I love when people say tune-ups to help the world, because it's like, I need new spark plugs or something like that. So tune-ups would be every quarter, every month?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the person.
Okay.
For some people, tune-ups are every 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
I would say the majority of people once a month. And then for some of my really, like, pretty settled people, they'll come in like when the seasons change in particular.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
That
makes
can
sense.
be a rough transition for certain people.
Totally. Totally. I completely understand. Here I am getting over a cold in the middle of the beginning of summer here. So it's a thing. Yeah.
And I think well, I won't get into diagnosing you. We can talk
You
about
could
there.
totally solve it. What would you say?
Well, I would say, so just being with you, I feel like you're a mix of like the wood and the earth element. So the wood has everything to do with spring.
Okay.
The wood element, and earth has everything to do with the transitions between. And so I know, like, you're moving businesses, you're doing new stuff, and a lot of times it's that transition that'll get people, and particularly an earth person, they're going to be more susceptible to things like phlegm and things like that. So right at the solstice, I think that was last week, and so it got you.
It was Friday, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Slapped me like a 2x4 across the face. Yeah. I'm on the downhill slide now, so yeah, I'm totally earth and wood. That's interesting. I don't know, how do you solve it? I mean, outside of not experiencing seasons.
Well, probably choosing an element as a partner that isn't another wood.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
No, so how do you solve it? I think it's just good to be aware that sometimes with the wood element people, they're really go-getters. I mean, you could tell you're a go-getter.
Sure.
You're on time. Like, you live a lot in the future. I think some of the nicest things that a wood element can do is actually they need rigorous exercise more so.
Every day?
So you go every day?
Every day.
Oh my gosh.
I lift weights and run every day.
Okay, you know that, and you know, and it's like you could, and that's why I feel like with what we do in Chinese medicine stuff, it's like you can have some formula for what someone needs to do to take care of themselves, but you really need to consider who you're talking to.
Sure.
You know, I would never tell, you know, an element that is more of my nature to exercise every day because it's like it's a waste of my time. They're gonna just feel bad because they don't want. They just. It's not in their nature.
So when you say elements, just because I'm dumb.
so
is this like fire, water, wood?
Doing good. Yeah.
Metal.
Yes.
Probably some other.
So it's fire, earth, metal, water, wood.
Fire, earth, metal, water. Oh, okay.
So
I came close. All right.
Yeah, we use the 5 elements, and it's not anything really. I guess it sounds probably pretty hippie-ish if you're not used to it, but it's about. Just the different nature.
You passed the hippie thing a while ago.
Okay.
We're good.
Yeah, it's about just recognizing everybody has a different nature, a different thing about them, and instead of trying to say this is how you heal, you kind of turn your volume, adjust your volume to who you're speaking with.
Sure.
Yeah. And so those are things we always consider a little bit. So more holistic.
So are these like a given person is an element, or they're a combination of?
Well, they're kind of like a clubhouse, actually.
Okay.
So you can kind of visit, right, any different clubhouse you want.
Sure.
But there's going to be probably 1 or 2 that you really hang out in the most.
Okay.
So, like, for example, I don't have a lot of fire. Fire is all about performing, like a warmth.
Sure.
I don't even really have it in my voice. Sometimes you listen to those fire people and they're just like, they're warm and they're exciting and stuff like that. Like
you rah-rah type people, like motivational?
Yeah, they could be.
Okay.
Yeah. They usually like draw a lot of people in. They're just charismatic. They're loud. They're laughing. People are like, I want to go to a comedy show with that person.
Gotcha.
Like, they're going to get called on. You
know? Nice.
So,
or would they be the comedian?
They could. Okay. They could just straight up be on stage.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. But
here I am, world.
Yeah, so there's just different seasons of life. You know, I think being a parent, maybe you'd be more under one clubhouse. And then, you know, when you're performing, for example, like the fire, that's the only time I visit the fire clubhouse.
Sure.
Yeah.
When you're performing.
Okay. Yeah.
Is this considered performing?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay. Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
So what elements are you then?
Oh, I'm mostly metal.
Okay.
And I'm mostly water. So I'm kind of like,
so
it depends on the day.
Of me. Okay.
Yeah, so that's probably why we're doing so well.
All right, but you're a driven business owner?
I am driven.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's probably the metal.
Okay.
The metal is all, like the wood, like they'll get the nitty gritty done. Like, you know, like I feel like I'm dealing with the wood. I'm like, oh, they beat me to the calendar invites and stuff like that. They'll get in there and get those details just finished. Where the metals are more about, you know, implementation. We can be a little bit of minimalist systems, just a little bit rigid.
Sure.
Kind of morally driven.
Okay.
We kind of always bring this higher purpose into like what we're doing on a daily life, in our daily life.
Interesting. Okay.
So there's always.
I feel inadequate now. I don't have a higher purpose. Or I haven't defined one.
That's perfect.
As I'm wood here. That's interesting.
We'll get there by the end.
So how do you diagnose people? I imagine you've done it so long. You can just, when they walk in your store, you can just be like wood.
Yeah.
Or water.
Yeah.
As they're walking with either a limp or they got their 1,200 bags they're bringing with them for no reason or whatever.
Oh God, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I guess I do the same thing with the disc profile with people. Maybe less hippie, more psychology.
What's the disc profile?
Disc profile is like some psychology test.
Oh, okay.
There's a few different versions, but there's direct and there's I mean something. I think it's all in Swiss or something like that. Essentially super friendly, outgoing.
Okay.
And then there's the typical person that's an S, where they're nice, but they're kind of the wallflower. And then C is super detailed, so the accountants of the world.
Yeah.
And usually people have some high or low in one, and then there's 1 or 2 that really stick out. So
yeah, that's
and someone like me, direct often to a fault sometimes.
But you're probably right.
Well, I like to think so.
That's the thing with the wood. It's like they feel like they know it all, but they probably do.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. I had an employee tell me the other day. She's like, "Wait, you know how to do that?" And I was wiring something. I'm like,
"Yeah.
Doesn't everybody know how to do this? Like, these are just things you need to know, right? Set up a network. That's just common knowledge." But apparently it's not. I don't know. Who knew? Not her. So it didn't matter. But yeah, it can be a challenge from an employee standpoint, which I bet you have the same issue, maybe. Or are you more, you're kinder than I am, maybe.
I don't know. I go in phases, you know, like with my employees. So I'm definitely the owner and I definitely manage the acupuncturist. But we do have I'm pretty happy to share the responsibility. So for example, for the massage therapist team, which is 7, they have a massage manager, and then there's the front desk, and they have a front desk manager. So I try to, you know, promote from within, so people that are actually in the role, like really, I've worked all of those different positions, and I can recall and I can take it into account. But you know, I'm getting some space in between. Like what was maybe relevant when I was working in some of the reception roles years ago, and I mean things change. And, like you got to keep moving,
right?
With
That's totally fair.
Yeah,
totally fair. It's interesting. I always think of metal as being cold.
I'm a bit cold.
You're not cold at all.
Well, thank you.
So maybe that's just I don't know.
I do have a little bit of trouble smiling at strangers on the street, but that could be because I grew up on the East Coast for a bit. So
I love dealing with East Coast people though, because they get stuff done.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I was
in a rush.
I was joking with someone, well, semi-joking, that I would start marketing to the East Coast versus marketing to the Midwest, because Midwest takes so long to make a decision.
Yeah.
Where East Coast is just like one phone call, you can make stuff happen. Whether it's a yes or no, you know at the end of that 3-minute phone call where you're at.
You do.
Where Midwest, you'll be talking for 45 minutes and you have nothing.
Yeah, I do. I do like that. Like, I don't miss the East Coast, but I like the directness. I just want to know where we stand.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, super cool. Yeah, let's all just move to the East Coast, right? So you owned your business for a few years. You got a fair number of employees. Where are you located?
We're located on the west side off Junction Road.
Okay. And how long have you been there?
We've been there the whole time. So since the business formed, we did have a move. We were upstairs and now we're downstairs, but it's always been within the same office suite.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And what was the inspiration for starting the business?
I felt like it was always there for me. But it kind of found me, actually.
The business found you? Okay.
Yeah. So, long story short, we found out that the place where we all used to work together, there were 6 of us that used to work at a previous business, and the doors were closing, and I thought, oh my gosh, well, I got a month here to figure something out.
Right.
And I didn't think we'd stay together. I didn't know. I said, you know, I knew for sure I wanted to keep seeing people. I didn't want to have a break and, you know, the treatment process and stuff. And so I started to talk to the women, and it was all women then. We do have guys now. Have a mix. But, you know, I just sat down with each one of them individually and said, this is what I'm thinking. Trying to find a spot. Like, you know, what are you thinking? And they all hopped on board.
Nice.
So we're together, and many of those core people were still together.
Wow. That's super cool.
Some of us have worked together for 7 years, 8 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. So was the name the same, or did that change? Or?
The name is similar to the previous business.
Okay.
Yeah, but it is a new name, a new company.
New location, or was
new
that
location as well? So we came more west.
Gotcha.
We used to be more centrally located.
Okay. So a few tweaks, and you're all good.
Sure.
Okay. It had to be a challenge though, going from you're an employee essentially to starting this business, right? Or taking over the business, starting it?
It was starting.
Okay.
Yeah, there were, I mean, we had some overlapping interests and stuff like that. And we're still connected, and I have a lot of respect for my previous boss and my previous owner.
Sure.
So we're still connected in that way. But But yeah, no, I had a lot to learn, and you think you know what you're getting into, but you just don't, you know, you just don't.
Sure.
But it was good, and I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change everything I'd learned, you know, from it.
Sure.
And I would say the first 2 years they're just hard. I just had to kind of get beaten down, like my perception, my ideas about, I had a lot of preconceived notions that weren't wrong, you know, that weren't right, and a lot
about
just what people would respond to, you know, how to handle money, how to handle, you know, everyday decisions, what deserved my attention and what I really needed to worry about and what I didn't. I kind of just worried about everything. And I wasn't used to, you know, having such a big commitment and big numbers over my head and like being the last line of defense for obviously my coworker, some of them my coworkers, now my employees. It's like, you know, you're last in line to keep everything right. And
the buck stops here, that is for sure.
Yeah, so that really kind of changed things. And I, you know, I think hiring was really hard for me. Yeah, I didn't really know how to do that. Sure. Maybe I still don't know. I don't know. But I have a great group of people. Oftentimes the best ones find me.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
You know, they just...
You're lucky in that regard. Keep running with that. We're having a hard time finding employees. I hear it's common that people are having a very rough time finding employees.
Well, I think, isn't the employment rate kind of high?
The unemployment rate is insanely low.
Low, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so the employment rate is high, And the people that are applying, I don't know if they ever knew English. Or if grammar, they just skipped a lot of classes. Or attendance. We're pretty picky. We want people to attend. Yeah, so I don't know if...
Reliability is important.
I don't know if work ethic was ever a thing for some people. So that's, it's just challenges. But that's across the board that I'm hearing from a lot of different industries.
Yeah.
So, fun times. So, yes, keep running with people.
I've got a good group. I really have to say. It's amazing how... And can I, you know... Sometimes when you don't have the right employee, maybe they're a very good employee, but maybe for your business, not mine. Sure. You know, and I can really feel when you can feel how just one person can kind of change the whole dynamic. Even we have such a big boat, like, and 15's big for me. Okay, I know there's probably people that are like, that's so little, I miss those days.
No. For this audience, 15 is big.
Okay, so so I feel like, you know, we've evolved. Like, I've had to evolve, like, what I offer, what I don't offer. You know, I can be really, like uptight about certain things. Like, I've had to learn how to relax on certain things. So, like, you know, for example, my employee needed to, like, let her dog out today. And we're like, you know, just, like, go. Just take care of you know, I'm not going to make you stay here and be stressed. Where in the past, I'd be like, oh, my goodness, we're not going to have anyone at the front. What are we going to do? You know, we just, like, roll with it. We all take, you know, I think anybody's experience there, it's like everybody's responsibility to make sure it's a good one. You know, it doesn't just ride on one person or the other. We all step in when we need to.
That's fair. So you started with 6 employees. Now you have 15, you said?
Yeah.
So you had a little bit of navigating to do from maintaining the culture that you wanted, I imagine, then, right?
Yeah, and I don't even know if I knew what that meant.
Okay,
I've heard about people in charge of culture, and I'm like, I can't. No one ever, and I don't even know if I'm doing it right now. Like, no one ever told me about the culture.
Sure.
I guess if I had to guess, like, I need to stay in a good vibe because the way I act is like contagious.
Very true.
So.
Yeah, well, arguably the way anybody acts, right? Anybody that's going to be communicating with anybody. Yeah. Within the, I want to say the office or with the business or whatever. Yeah. I mean, I imagine your culture is pretty, I mean, I'm going to dare say easy to maintain because generally speaking, the people that you're hiring are more or less in the we want to help you business, right? Like, you don't train to be an acupuncturist if you're a jerk.
Well, there's a couple jerks.
For Zoom. Maybe not.
It takes all kinds.
Sure. Yeah, I just imagine they'd be the touchy-feely kind of...
In general.
Just nice
Yeah,
people.
no, I have a good group. You know, I do. And I think Madison, I can speak for at least in Madison in general, just has a lot of great providers here.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
We're lucky. We have a good... health access around here.
Yeah.
Health system.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what have been some of the biggest challenges with starting your business?
Some of the biggest challenges?
Outside of the whole employee thing, which is a big one, but...
Well, I mean, I think we can only take people where we've been. And I also feel like you have to manage yourself before you can manage others. Mm-hmm. So learning how to manage myself and my stress, like, it was just a lot of it. Like, a lot of things just didn't go my way.
Sure.
They still don't.
That's typical, though.
They should.
The rule is that nobody gets excited for a flat roller coaster, right? So you got ups and downs. It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think I had to get really... Like, my stress was... I had periods of having too much going on.
Okay.
And too much stress and affecting... You know, I want that to... What always makes me curious is women that... And I'm going to talk about women for a second, but women that can run a business, right, and be successful, and then also, you know, be a wife or be a partner and a mother at home, you know. And I think when I first started, I didn't know how to, like, transition between my work role and my personal role. And so things that I had to do, I had to get really serious about my sleep, like really just like cut it out, like turn off the screens and like just stop being on my phone, stop being on my computer, and just be present and just have good routines, like turn notifications off, you know, time block myself. So that was a challenge at first, was just taking care of myself. Diet is really big with me. I don't know if I'm biased because I'm in the health industry, but me getting my own acupuncture, and I feel like the major thing, like, I had to have, like, really lean in, like, in a spiritual way. That was important to me.
Okay.
And a regular daily spiritual routine of, like, meditation.
Okay. Okay.
That, I think that really is what broke me of the stress cycle, so that I could kind of come from a bird's eye view rather than just being in it and reacting. Okay.
And how did you learn or realize that you had to do those things? Because you're kind of in that circle already. So you start the business and you're like, wait, I have to start taking my own advice kind of thing, or...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're in the massage and acupuncture business, which is essentially helping others, I want to say slow them down, but that totally goes against my green. Become more aligned, I guess, with who they are, maybe? Something of that nature?
That's a good way to say that.
Okay.
With their nature. Yeah. I just, the way I felt, like I could feel a feeling in my stomach. Like there was a tension there. There was, I was drinking a lot of coffee. Like I was like dependent on coffee, and I was just crabby, and it just, like, I had short attention. That's how I knew my stress was. Like this just, and like, if this is who I am as a business owner, then we got to sell this thing, because
it's not funny anymore.
No one's enjoying this. Which I think is a normal place for people to get. In business.
Absolutely. And
then you make changes.
That's one of the worst feelings, right? When you accomplish what you wanted, and then you're like, oh, is this all there is? I was expecting a little something different. So that's awesome that you realized that and then made the pivot to change.
Yeah, I feel like when I go in, I really enjoy we really have a good time together.
That's good.
Yeah, we don't work like the way some people have to collaborate and talk and everything all day. We're definitely into, you know, we're kind of running past each other, but we're ultimately concentrating on our clients, doing our notes. You know, we have our own things to focus on, but just those quick little interactions, like there's like just supportive or funny or light or, you know, just... I look forward to going to work.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
I like
the goal
it.
Then, right?
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long did it take you from let's say, over the course of 3 years, right? It wasn't day 2. So was it over the course of a year or a couple of years or 5 days ago?
Yeah, well, and it's like, and I guess it's like you think you have it figured out, right?
Right.
And so it's not like it was the first time where I thought, oh, well, I should have a better sleep routine, or I should do this, or, you know, you're thinking about these things. So then you do them, and then you're like, I I'm fine. Like, this isn't all.
Sure.
We don't need to get so worked up about this. And so then it's like, for me, then I would test it, and then stress and stuff would come back. And I thought, okay, so it felt like, especially with meditation, it was like, well, that was boring, you know, or that was just kind of what it was for meditation. And it's like, if I skip it, if I really like stop doing it, like, it just starts to build, and it's like you don't have that release, you know, and putting myself, like, I can always think of a reason not to get a treatment, you know, like I can always be like, oh, you know, next week's looking better.
I'll just think about it.
Yeah.
That's good enough.
Yeah. So I think I had to test it out, and I hope I don't test it out again. I want to like tell a future self, just stay with it. 'Cause I feel like I really pulled through this, I would say this winter.
Okay.
Into spring. And I started just really kind of like living a life outside of my work as well.
Huge deal.
Like identifying, okay, who is Chandon when she's not at work? Like who is she? What does she like? Sure.
This is the first time that you asked yourself that?
Well, the answer usually changes with me.
Ah, okay.
I like to change things up.
Okay.
Yeah, always trying different things, thinking different things.
Sure.
But I think I've been with a partner now, and him and I have been together for a couple of years, and I think, you know, as a woman, just kind of like, who do I want to be? Like, do I want to be sitting next to this person on my phone? And, you know, like, I really wanted to just be like, okay, we only have a little bit of time together here every day or on the weekend, like, just putting it down and being present and really, like, prioritizing my family time and who I am as a partner, not just always in business mode. And I guess for me, about this year, I've been kind of playing around with how it feels to bring some of that like vulnerability and kind of more gentle side of myself, bring that to work too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But I imagine that makes sense, especially to help your employees and probably to help your clients as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Super cool. Interesting. I like it. That's impressive. So how do you bring clients into your business? Because you've grown, you've essentially
I don't know.
over doubled your business.
We just try to do a good job. Like, you know what I mean?
There's no big billboard or radio ads or I don't know.
I think we do some advertising.
You say you think you do?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, like we'll do
spend
certain
money somewhere.
things. We'll do certain things, but it's more to just like we always say, like, with this thing, can we somehow add value for people?
Sure.
And if we can't, then we usually won't do it. Like, we don't want to stuff down like, hey, we do acupuncture. Come check it out. Like. We're looking for people who are looking for us.
Gotcha.
You know, we're looking for someone that's really ready to make a change, and like just there's a certain level of willingness. And when you're chasing people, trying to convince, I don't convince people. Like, if you don't think that acupuncture works, I don't care.
Fair.
It doesn't keep me
High
up
five
at night.
there. That's magical.
So, yeah, I mean, I think we just try to do a good job with the people we have, you know, and people do get, I feel like the majority of people probably come in through referrals. Sure. We do have an operating website. All right, well, that's good. You know, is always helpful.
Sure. You guys have a ton of blogs on there.
Thank you. I mean, like, I try to write. Sometimes I notice, if we're talking about, I notice I'm much more creative and able to write more when it's cold out. I have to say, I'm not as, I like that cozy, you know, tea, cozy up, like, it's a much more creative spot. I feel like in the summer, I'm always kind of running, so.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
No, I checked out your blog. There's a ton of them, and it's good stuff.
Good. I mean, we try to, I don't know if people are reading. I should check the analytics or something.
In the end, it's an outlet, so it's all good. That's what I use.
That's how it feels to me. It's like, you know, if I can just sit down and create and like get this out of me, I'm pretty happy about it. And if like one person likes it, great.
Right. That's what I.
You liked it, so we're good now.
Yeah, nailed it. Yeah, I talk to my clients about blogging. Most of them don't, even though I tell them to. And I say, you know, there's a couple reasons. One is content, so you can actually get found. 2 is education for the people that land up on your website. Yeah. And 3 is, as you're writing, you'll actually realize what you do. You'll understand more of what you're doing because you're essentially teaching.
That is true. I feel like anytime I go to create content, whether it's through, I do a lot on Instagram,
Sure.
whether it's through, I try on Facebook. I feel like, if we can be honest for a second, I do feel like Facebook kind of rots our souls a little bit.
Totally agree.
But I feel like, people are looking. Why not just put some stuff out
Sure.
there? And again, I always ask myself, like, is this valuable? Is this helpful? And if it is, then I'll share.
Sure.
And if it's not, then we can just move on.
Tell me, though, being honest here, Facebook rotting your soul, totally agree with. But does Instagram not also rot your soul? Or your Instagram is less soul rotting? Or is it just
less soul rotting?
It is.
For me.
Okay.
But I still don't like it. Like,
okay. I'm on this. I
don't
totally agree with you.
I don't like chill on there too much. Like I use what is it called? Later.
I don't know.
Later something. So when I'm gonna manage our Instagram, I'll sit down with like my textbooks out.
Sure.
And I'm always taking pictures of nature and the different elements because I like to talk about the elements.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Because you can learn so much just by the nature of nature. And so I'll have my books out. I'll have my stuff out. I'll be thinking and creating. And it's like I'll spend like a few hours putting together all of our Instagram posts and teaching people about it, but I time block it because I think you can just keep scrolling on there.
Sure. It's endless.
Looking for something that you aren't going to find on there.
You will not find all of the internet, right?
No.
So true. So true. So what has been your favorite part about owning the business?
My favorite part.
It's got to be a good part, right?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot. I think it's like, well, I feel like I have two different groups.
Okay.
I'll talk about the clients first.
Okay.
I think my favorite thing is just watching them evolve, like behind closed doors.
Sure.
Like much of what we do, our conversations, people's discoveries about themselves. I mean, sometimes like maybe someone came to work with me because they want to get pregnant, but what really needed to happen was to quit the job. They needed to quit the job or something just huge like that.
Sure.
And just to see them just like break free of any preconceived notions about who they are and what defines them and let the,
Sure.
I just think some of the biggest wins, like they'll never be publicized and I don't even get to share them with anybody except that person in that moment.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I think that I really like that. And I think sometimes as an owner, we think about like, well, don't work too much in the business. And I've made peace with the fact that I really do like to sit down with clients. A lot of women. I do focus on women's health. I really like to sit down with people and and just listen.
But in the end, you have the freedom to do that, right? Like you choose that because you own the business and you're also essentially employed by the business, so you're giving yourself permission to do that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I don't think I've thought about, should I cut down another day? Like some, a lot of my staff, they, do like 3 days or 4 days. And I was like, do I need to do that? And I was like, no, I'm good.
As long as you're enjoying yourself.
I'm having a good time.
Right?
I feel like my other favorite part, this sounds weird, but I feel like, my relationships with my employees. I like to see how those evolve and change.
That's good, right?
They're some of my greatest. I feel like they teach me, and they give a lot back to me. And, I don't know if they always know that, but I've really enjoyed that.
Sure. That's good.
I learn a lot about life through them.
Oh, interesting. How so?
How do they teach me? I mean, they challenge me. Yeah, okay. I'm accessible. They challenge me. They're pretty open with me about where they're coming from, what they need. They help me see where I'm being short-sighted. They help me see, something I don't think I should worry about.
Sure.
But they clearly they can see it in a way, and
Sure.
they can kind of share their perceptions with me in a way that I can see things from
Okay.
all angles,
Sure.
instead of just my own.
Sure.
And I think, yeah, there's just, and the longer we're together, we just kind of have each other's backs.
That's super cool.
Yeah, like just the teamwork that goes into all of it.
Mm-hmm.
The sharing of ideas and
Sure.
treatment. They like literally teach me things like, this oil for this, or
gotcha. Okay.
this for, like, we literally. I take that for granted because I know most acupuncturists are individuals. They work, amongst themselves.
Right.
Just, there's some collaboration, but we have a really unique set in that there's like 5 acupuncturists,
Sure.
7 massage. And so we're really getting the opportunity. I can ask so many questions, and I do. I probably
Sure.
ask, 10 to 20 questions a week, which means I'm learning that many new things or that
nice.
many new ideas.
Sure.
And I think, gosh, if I was on my own, Google's great.
To a point, sure.
My reference books are great, but I love like just hearing people's clinical experience.
Sure. Because it's real world and it's authentic because it's right there. Sure. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
So most of your employees, you said you got that group that's been with you 6-7 years.
Yeah. And
Right.
Yep.
And then the other ones, just over the course of time, have they been pretty loyal to you? Like they stuck
I think
around?
so.
Okay. Like you haven't had the revolving door or anything?
Oh, yeah. So I would say so we kind of have 2 different groups. We have like service providers,
Sure.
and then we have the front desk staff.
Okay.
And I would say we've had a really low turnover with the service providers. There's some front desk staff like we have. It's taken us a while
Sure.
To really find our core group. But at the moment, the 3 of them, they just gel. They're not the same. They're
Sure.
different. Everyone has their kind of thing that they're strong with. But that position was the reception position was a little challenging for
Sure.
me. Yeah, to find. Again, and we do the same thing with employees as we do with clients. Like we're looking for people that are looking for
Sure.
us, that want to be
Interesting.
specifically a part of what we do.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to be like an acupuncture fanatic, but there has to be
Sure.
that interest. Yeah.
Gotcha. Super cool. So in your new space, why did you end up moving, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh goodness. It was too loud upstairs. I'll leave
too
it
loud?
at that.
Okay.
Yeah, it was too loud, and so we had a great deal worked out, and the landlords or the management company was really helpful. So
Sure.
I feel like, gosh, being downstairs, it's like night and day. It's a perfect fit for us.
Well, that's awesome.
Easier for clients to get in.
Sure.
Just quieter rooms, cozier rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's a much better fit for our clients' needs specifically,
Sure.
but the employees are a lot happier with the more appropriate environment.
Right? No, it makes
Yeah.
sense. I imagine you're not blaring Metallica or something when you're doing acupuncture. Right?
No, not usually.
So
Maybe just one of them.
has to be. I don't know if I'd want someone with a bunch of needles around me blasting Metallica. No good can come from that. At what point did you get involved with the whole massage thing? Like, when did you decide you wanted to go down that path?
Well, I started in fashion design. I know
Did you really?
You can't tell that now.
No, you can totally tell. Like, compared to what I'm wearing, totally can tell.
And then, honestly, I don't think this is political, but like 9/11 happened.
Sure.
And I kind of where my head went was like, I want to help. I just want to be of service. I could
Sure.
feel this energy around me. I could feel a lot of people suffering, just a lot of people scared.
Sure.
Like a new sense of fear
Mm-hmm.
and everywhere, like division.
Sure.
And I just thought, like, I do want to help people.
Right.
Not to say that you can't help people in all sorts of different ways.
Right. Right.
And I just knew I wanted to help people. And so that I knew that massage helped me. That was like, that
Sure.
was true. And I could do that.
Okay.
I thought maybe a nurse practitioner, but like, I'm not a big, like, ooey gooey, like,
here's some blood.
what nurses do.
Gotcha.
Even though I've made peace with needles, obviously now, but like, I wasn't super
Your needles
interested.
don't have guts and stuff like that flying out. So.
Yeah, I'm honestly a little squeamish.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. And are you happy, or do you think that in a few years you'll choose a different path, or?
No, I do think this is what I'm supposed to do.
This is it? It's all good?
I really do think so.
Super cool.
Yeah.
What do you see for the future of the business?
What do I see for the future?
Yeah, let's say 5 years in the future when we interview you again, right?
I've played around with different things in my mind.
Okay.
Sometimes I think it'd be nice if we had a standalone space, like our own little building, you know, kind of with different amenities, things like that.
Sure.
I've thought about that. I've thought about having a second location.
Okay.
But, I feel like we're still getting settled in some ways. We're still getting settled, and like even today after our move, we just moved downstairs 2 or 3 months ago, and even today they had to come in and like touch up some paint. I'm like, we're still moving in, and it's like been 3.5 years, and so we've talked about finally having like an open house maybe in the fall. But
nice.
But I feel like now that we have, because the space was a bit loud and it was a bit hard to manage and stuff, and now I feel like let's just see some patients here for a little bit and not have to worry about, or at least for me, my employees didn't have to worry about it, but like I was always working on the next, contract, or the next, plan for moving, or approving a design plan, or picking out this or picking out that. And like, let's just groove here for a second, enjoy the summer, like heal some patients, just take this time to actually get our work done and not be distracted. Yeah, with other things. I also see a lot of potential in my employees. I could see them like expanding and like teaching people, online and things like that. But I think a lot of them are just really enjoying the face-to-face interactions right now. But I think they all have a lot to offer.
That's awesome.
I always say I'm like the dumb one.
The rule is to hire people smarter than yourself, right? Yeah. So that's all good.
Yeah, that's actually what my dad told me.
That's smart. That's
hire someone smarter than you.
That's good. That's super good. Tell us about you mentioned the tea thing, and we don't have a ton of time, but just tell me about the tea.
The tea?
Yeah, you have leaves or something. I'm not a tea guy.
Sure, no. So we use kind of more granules, but the way we look at tea in Chinese medicine and the way we use plants is different. So a lot of times, you'll hear things like, oh, you can't sleep, take valerian, or there's a lot of, and I think healing can come from a lot of different things. I mean, that probably works for a lot of people. However, we do approach things differently. So instead of taking one single herb and trying to force change and dose it high enough to push the body to do something, we'll look for kind of a pattern of imbalance. And instead of putting a single herb toward a complex pattern, we put a family of plants together that kind of more invite change. And so it's an opportunity for change, and it's an opportunity for the body to kind of shift and start to heal itself. And if we get the right mixture down, then we invite people's bodies to change, and oftentimes they do.
Nice. So this is in addition to acupuncture and massage, or instead, or
this is mostly through that acupuncture. Yeah,
gotcha.
That we would recommend the teas.
That's super cool. Do you have competition for something like that, or that sounds exclusive to you more or less? Not worldwide,
most acupuncturists that have a master's have then gone on to take the additional certification.
Interesting. Okay.
In that, and so
that shows you how out of touch I am.
That's all good.
Cool. Where can people find you?
Where can people find us?
Yeah, like the address of your place.
Yeah, we're 515 Junction Road.
Okay.
Suite C. Located on the lower level.
Okay.
And then our website is www.isthmuswellness.com.
isthmuswellness.com. That's awesome. This has been Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes of business owners across the land, coming to you from the Sun Prairie Community Studios, underwritten by Bank of Sun Prairie. My name is James Cademan, and Authentic Business Adventures is brought to you by Calls on Call, offering call answering and receptionist services for small businesses across the country. On the web at callsoncall.com, as well as Draw In Customers Business Coaching, offering business coaching services for entrepreneurs in all stages of their business. On the web at drawincustomers.com. And of course, the Bold Business Book, a book for the entrepreneur and all of us, available on Amazon and wherever fine books are sold. We'd like to thank you, our wonderful listeners, as well as our guest, Chandon Williams, owner of Isthmus Wellness. Chandon, thanks for being on here.
Thank you for having me, James.
This has been super enlightening here. Find us airing on 103.5 Wednesdays at 1 p.m., Sundays at 2 p.m., as well as at sunprairemediacenter.com. Past episodes can be found morning, noon, and night at the podcast link, found at drawincustomers.com. Thank you for listening. We will see you next week. I want you to stay awesome, and if you do nothing else, enjoy your business.